Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm George Thomas. Today, as Israel prepares for a bigger assault on the last major Hamas stronghold, Gaza City, we'll take a look back at the results of Israel's withdrawal from Gaza back in 2005, including how thousands of Israelis were expelled from the territory. President Trump facing opposition from Democratic politicians to his plan to possibly send National Guard troops to Chicago to deal with crime and illegal immigration. And how a set of teenage triplets is making a big splash on social media. The Helms brothers are using Instagram to pray, have fun, and tell people about Jesus. And how Christian summer camps have been giving kids a chance to unplug and reconnect with God. Those stories and more today on NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
We begin in Israel as it builds up to an expanded assault on the last Hamas stronghold, Gaza City. Residents there are fleeing for safety. Sunday, Israel's cabinet rejected discussions of a partial hostage deal. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed that an Israeli airstrike killed the Houthi prime minister and several high-level leaders.
In a fatal blow, the IDF eliminated most of the Houthi government and other senior military officials. And I also remind you that an entire coalition of world countries acted against them.
Security around the Prime Minister and other Israeli leaders has been increased after Houthi threats of revenge. The war in Gaza has been at the top of the news for nearly 2 years. What many don't realize is 20 years ago, Israel's government expelled thousands of Israelis from the territory. The move was supposed to bring peace, but failed miserably. CBN News Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl has the look at the recent and ancient history of Gaza.
In 2005, Israel's Prime Minister Ariel Sharon uprooted 21 Jewish communities in the Gaza Strip and 4 in Samaria or the northern West Bank, expelling 10,000 Israelis. Known as the disengagement, it was supposed to bring peace. Since then, Hamas and other terror groups have launched tens of thousands of rockets from Gaza, carried out many suicide bombings, and dug numerous terror tunnels. The murder of nearly 1,200 Israelis in the October 7th cross-border attack is deemed the worst massacre of Jewish people since the Holocaust. It's prompted many Israelis to call for a return to Gaza.
People actually don't know. Gaza is Jewish. Jews have lived in Gaza on and off for thousands of years.
Gaza is first mentioned in Genesis and later named as part of the inheritance given to the biblical tribe of Judah. Avi Abelo from the Pulse of Israel says even in the early 1900s, there were Jews living in Gaza.
Before Israel was established in the 1940s, there were Jewish communities in Gaza. Unfortunately, the British, because they didn't want to defend the Jews, they basically expelled them. They said, run away, because we were being killed by the pogroms by the Arab Muslims in the 1920s and the 1930s.
From the 1948 establishment of Israel until the 1967 Six-Day War, Gaza was under Egyptian control. Following Israel's victory, most of the 21 Jewish communities there were established in the 1970s and early 80s. The communities began to thrive. Over 30 years, agriculture grew to a $60 million per year industry, producing 15% of Israel's exported vegetables. Nicknamed the Celery Lady, Anita Tucker successfully farmed in her community of Netzer Hazani for decades. 10 years ago, she told CBN's Scott Ross about one of her first encounters with the Arabs there.
One day we see, like out of no place comes, like out from under the sand dune comes this Arab with his keffiyeh and his long galabiyah, his long Arab robe. We see they have bread and salt in their hands in the Muslim tradition. Bruchim habayim, welcome, they say to us. We're so glad that you're here.
Tucker says the local Arabs were happy for their success.
They were happy with that blessing because it was work for their people. We taught them modern agriculture.
She said the relationship started to break down when the world began talking about peace.
I say they misspelled it, and instead of writing P-E-A-C-E, somebody by mistake wrote P-I-E-C-E, and they started tearing us to pieces and tearing the Arabs living in Gaza to pieces.
Yair Shoshan was an 18-year-old resident of the community of Gadid in 2005.
We knew the minute we would leave the farms of Gush Katif, we knew we would pay a price. We knew it would cost us in missiles, in terror attacks, and shootings. In the end, here we are closing the circle.
The 9,000 residents of Gush Katif decided not to leave voluntarily. They felt they had settled the biblical land promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob with the blessing of the Israeli government. Until the end, they believed for a miracle.
It was the saddest thing that the soldiers participated in the disengagement. They evacuated us. They pulled us out. They took us out by force. And we thought it wouldn't happen. Until the last day, we were sure. The gardeners were taking care of the gardens. And until the last day, we were watering the grass, and we were certain it wouldn't happen.
After more than 30 years of nourishing successful communities, it took just a week to obliterate Jewish life on the sand dunes of Gaza.
I thought it was a terrible mistake to withdraw because it sends the wrong message to the enemy that you are going back under pressure, that you are actually surrendering because you just don't want to fight.
Israeli Minister for Diaspora Affairs, Amichai Chikli, served in the IDF at the time.
I think that October 7 is a direct result of the disengagement. And I have one thing to say about it. We have betrayed the land of Israel in 2005, and the land did not forget and did not forgive. We should never abandon an inch of our soil in Judea and Samaria, Jerusalem, etc.
6 months before the disengagement, polls showed nearly 2/3 of Israelis supported it.
Many people who supported the disengagement on the villages nearby Gaza, they really thought that it will bring peace.
Chikli says it's a tough lesson to learn. A recent poll now shows that 76% of Israelis believe it was a mistake to pull out. In the eyes of their enemy, he says, every Jew in Israel is a settler who doesn't belong here, whether in Gush Katif or Tel Aviv.
They see it from a religious perspective. They see it as a Muslim territory.
President Trump said recently that Israel made a mistake in pulling out of Gaza. Abelo says it's time for Israel to return.
That test to see if they can have their own state blew up in everyone's faces. They want to destroy us. They cannot live there. We have to move back and live there and take it back again. Time to make Gaza Jewish again.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Coming up, here at home, President Trump's plan to potentially send National Guard troops to Chicago, meeting opposition from Democrats. We'll bring you that story when we come back. President Trump's threats to deploy the National Guard to Chicago is meeting fierce resistance from Democratic politicians in Illinois. And in a dramatic legal showdown, a federal judge has temporarily halted the deportation of hundreds of unaccompanied children to Guatemala. Dale Hurd has that story.
A federal judge Sunday temporarily blocked the deportation of 600 Guatemalan children by the Trump administration. The order came as some of the children sat on flights waiting to take off for Guatemala. The judge said the government violated their rights to due process and ignored protections for minors who crossed the border alone.
And it defies any reason or logic, the cruelty of the most powerful, the richest country in the world, going after a 7-year-old.
The Trump administration insisted it was acting at Guatemala's request to reunite those minors with their parents. The ruling comes as President Trump is now threatening to deploy the National Guard in Chicago, in part over crime, in part over illegal immigration.
Chicago, everybody knows how bad it is.
Trump on Truth Social said Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker was crazy for saying he doesn't need federal help and warned the Democrat governor to get control of the crime problem in Chicago, writing, "Better straighten it out fast or we're coming." Pritzker accused the White House of secretly planning an invasion.
They ought to let us know when they're coming, where they're coming, if it's ICE or if it's ATF or whoever it is.
Chicago's mayor condemned any plan to surge federal officers into the nation's third-largest city and has barred his police department from helping federal authorities with civil immigration enforcement or any related patrols.
We will not have our police officers, who are working hard every single day to drive down crime, deputized to do traffic stops and checkpoints for the president.
Meanwhile, it's been another bloody weekend of crime in Chicago, with 43 shot and 7 dead. U.S. Attorney for D.C. Jeanine Pirro defended Trump's guard deployment to fight crime in cities.
What we need is to recognize that the first order of government is the protection of its people. If anyone has a problem with that, then, they're not in compliance with 81% of the American people who think crime is a major problem in large cities.
Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Still ahead, these identical triplets were born fighting for their lives. Now they're champion wrestlers. We'll meet the Helms brothers of 3-in-1 Trilogy and see how their message of hope turned them into social media stars. Right after this. Welcome back to the broadcast. A set of teenage triplets is blowing up social media. The Helms brothers are using Instagram to pray, have fun, and tell people about Jesus. In just 1 year, they've gained more than 355,000 followers. Wendy Griffiths caught up with the trio at their home in Denver, North Carolina.
Meet the Helms brothers, Gage, Till, and Caden. About a year ago, their parents gave the 18-year-old identical triplets the green light to get on social media, never dreaming they'd become literal overnight sensations.
We always talk to people about Jesus in person and stuff, but, like Till said, we knew social media was blowing up, and we never had it our whole life. So we were like, well, we can use it for a good purpose. So we started then and just made one video that really took everything off, and it was a back-to-school video, how just let your light shine, let Jesus shine through you.
I encourage all of you guys to be set apart this year. If you see somebody sitting alone at lunch by themselves, go sit by them, ask people how their day is going, just talk to people about Jesus, be that kind person that someone needs.
We made that video and we posted it and we went to sleep. It was at night, it was like 9 at night, and then we woke up and it just blew up and we were like, what just happened? It had like 100,000 views and we were like, wait in like 8 hours, and God just blessed it. So then we were like, all right guys, we should actually do this.
Since then, 3-in-1 Trilogy, as they're known on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, have been posting nearly every day. The brothers say their topics, ranging from how to deal with peer pressure to dating advice, come easy to them.
We usually do like what we're like struggling on or what we're thinking about. Like for a long time in the beginning at school, we were like, a lot of people don't have hope, so we need to talk about hope. And then we were like, a lot of people are having doubt, like they're doubting God. So we were like, we can really talk about doubt because everybody doubts at some point.
So once the guys find a scripture and a topic for their daily devotional, all they need is a great location. Well, they just happen to live next to beautiful Lake Norman near Charlotte, North Carolina. And then this is when the magic happens.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This video is for all the youth out there, and we want to share a Bible verse with you guys. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." That's exactly right, guys. There's so many things that are trendy right now, and all these teenagers are following all these certain things, but I just want to encourage you guys to follow Jesus. He might not be trending, but He is the way, the truth, and the light.
Although they have many followers their own age, some of their biggest fans are moms.
Some of our friends will be like, yeah, my mom follows you guys, and she sends me all these videos, so that's like funny.
When the brothers aren't posting videos, they're wrestling. All three have won numerous awards in high school and plan to wrestle together this fall at Gardner-Webb University. Their mom, Charity, says she's not surprised they chose wrestling. Born premature, they literally had to fight for their lives.
They were born at 28 weeks, and they only were 2 pounds.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. They were on ventilator, early on, and they had their struggles. But they all came home completely healthy, and I'm like, don't take that for granted, that you get to wrestle, that you get to be healthy, smart, teenage boy. You know, like, we're blessed, and I'll never take that for granted.
The guys say wrestling has also taught them spiritual lessons.
The Bible says that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and darkness. Like, I gotta wake up every day, and instead of like, okay, I gotta become the best wrestler I gotta be, no, I gotta fight like my flesh, and I gotta pursue Jesus.
Although the world may be just getting to know the Helms triplets, their mom says their love for Jesus and preaching started at an early age.
No credit deserved here is, as you well know, it's all about what God chooses to do. You know, he many times chooses the least of us to do wonderful and great things. And not to say they're least, but, you know, 3 kids from North Carolina are out spreading the gospel all around the world.
Stepfather Jeff has helped raise them since they were 3.
They live out their faith. One of the things that we try to teach them from an early age, words don't carry a lot of meaning these days, but faith, action, how you live your life is what people respond to. You know, being a light, kids sitting by themselves, there's an authenticity there. There's a built-in genuineness, I think, that people responded to.
Gage, Till, and Caden say while their focus will be on the books and wrestling at college, they still plan to post Christian social media content and would also be open to other opportunities.
We've always said, and this is what Mom always said, we could have our own reality TV show.
This house is never quiet.
Yeah, never.
This house is never quiet.
Whatever God has planned. I think we could, like, entertain some people, though. I mean, we entertain each other.
Wendy Griffith, CBN News, Denver, North Carolina.
Coming up, it's the cure for nature deficit disorder. Kids average just 7 minutes a day outside, so Christian summer camps have given them a chance to unplug, reset, and reconnect with God. We'll hear why students say just a week at camp can change the rest of their lives right after this. Welcome back. Christian summer camps saw record demand this year. Parents look to help their children break free from screens, get outside, and connect with their faith. Beyond the fun, these camps help participants face fears, build resilience, and find purpose. Brody Carter takes us to River Valley Ranch in Maryland.
Blast off! It's a wild ride, but Christian summer camps are proving that the biggest leap is the leap of faith.
It's no secret that kids are dealing with more than they probably ever have. And there is an incredible rise in anxiety in our society, and we see kids coming here and bringing that here.
Nice job, high five.
Christian camps are filling up faster than ever, with wait lists and record enrollment reported nationwide. At the heart of this trend is a simple desire to unplug, reset, and rediscover faith.
So what camps do is they allow kids to unplug from a very complicated world and plug into this incredible Christ-centered community where they can build relationships with each other. They can have mentors and counselors.
Camping runs deep for John Bissett. His grandfather, John, co-founded River Valley Ranch in Manchester, Maryland, almost 75 years ago. John continues the legacy with a clear mission: to show kids that Jesus isn't just part of life, he is life.
And when you come to camp, they realize I can do hard things. They realize this is a place where someone actually saw me and loved me for who I am. And then they hear this message of there's a God of the universe that created you on purpose for a purpose, and you can have a relationship with him.
John points to stats to explain why kids need camp, including teens spending up to 8 hours a day on screens, with less than 7 minutes outside and under 4 minutes each day in meaningful conversation with a trusted adult. RVR is one of more than 7,000 overnight camps nationwide, working to lift the digital veil and help kids see real life, real relationships, and a real God who loves them.
The needs of young people stay the same, right? I mean, kids still need to feel loved. They still need to belong. They still need to feel accepted.
Greg Hunter, with the Christian Camp and Conference Association, represents more than 850 U.S. faith-based camps. He says time spent in nature can lower stress, boost mental health, and offer an antidote to what some call nature deficit disorder.
Just exposure to nature reduces the stress hormone cortisol in the human body. So being connected to creation is therapeutic.
You guys ready?
Even as demand surges, a national staffing shortage is forcing many camps to cut programs or turn kids away.
I'm 6 years out of college, and I was thinking I need like a full-time job and stuff, and summer pay isn't, you know, exactly livable necessarily, but the Lord was just like, you need to come back here, and I'll make the pay work, and I'll be with you, you know, provide for your needs.
Last year, more than 60% of camps were understaffed. Competing with corporate jobs, internships, and higher-paying gigs means camp ministry is often overlooked.
I'm always reminded of the simplicity of the gospel and how Jesus meets people wherever they are, and the kids just have a very simple faith, which sometimes we can make really complicated, but they just see the beauty in it.
For camp leaders like Jen, this simplicity is why she spent more than a decade working at camp. As camps struggle to staff fully, safety and emergency response are also under scrutiny. Sending a child to camp can also be an act of trust for parents, a trust put to the test this summer when heavy rain led to a deadly flash flood that struck Camp Mystic in Texas. Though not affiliated with the Christian Camp Association, the tragedy prompted camps nationwide to reevaluate weather alerts, safety protocols, and staffing.
We had a crisis that happened here 11 years ago. We had a storm that came through, unexpected, strong microburst, it was called, came through and knocked a bunch of trees down, and it fell on a bunch of our campers, and actually one camper lost his life, and it was absolutely devastating for us because obviously we're here because we want to impact kids in a positive way.
Bissett says that event led them to change their routine, from daily weather alerts to camp-wide emergency training. At RVR, safety isn't just a checklist. It's a commitment shaped by experience and rooted in faith.
Whenever I see kids up here, it puts them in a new position. They're vulnerable, they're scared, especially if they have a fear of heights and things like that. So getting them to explore those challenges, and we love to say here, pushing them outside of their comfort zone, is really crucial for having those gospel teaching moments.
While fun remains central to the experience, it's a week that can shape a lifetime for many families. More than 80% of pastors report either receiving their call to ministry or having a significant spiritual experience at camp.
We have people that come here, and people who have come here in the past for 1 week, and they come back and say this was the most significant week of their entire life.
Reporting from Manchester, Maryland, Brody Carter, CBN News.
Thank you so much, Brody. Well, folks, that is it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can find our news programs on the CBN News Channel anytime or online with cbnnews.com. From all of us here from the headquarters of the Christian Broadcasting Network, goodbye. And until next time, God bless.